Okay, folks, I'm going to call this meeting to order, 6:30. All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Owen. Pugh. Rodriguez.
Here.
Rogers.
Present.
Sexton. Smith.
Present.
Storr. Straub.
Yes.
Taylor. Thorsland. Vanish Theronot.
Here.
Wilson. Cowart. Esri.
Here.
Farney.
Here.
Furtado. Greer.
Here.
Hanauer Friedman.
Here.
Locke.
Here.
Lockshin.
Here.
Michaels.
Present.
Carter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Pugh.
Thank you. Oh,
And Cowart. And Storr.
thank you. All right, for tonight's prayer, let us all remember that we are here to work together and make wise decisions for the residents of Champaign County. Let's observe a brief moment of silence to reflect on that, each according to your own personal thoughts. All right, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Matt, would you please read the notice of the meeting?
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois, will convene on October 22nd, 2024, 6:30 p.m. in the Shields Carter Meeting Room, Brookins Administrative Center, 1776 East Washington Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payments of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees, and such other matters as may be brought before said meeting, which said meeting shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of said business.
Thank you. All right, the date, times, the next regular meetings are posted on the website. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Farney, motion second. Locke. Are there any motions to amend the agenda?
I was inside talking to students today, so I was using my range voice for outside, so I'm just not there yet. To move item 15, A, B, 1, 2, and 3 after number 6 and before number 7.
Is there a second? Furtado, thank you. Oh,
Number 15, A, B, 1, B2, and B3.
that would move opioid report, ARPA, broadband, and treasurer collector. Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second to amend. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry? Would be right after item 6, experience Champaign-Urbana. Okay. All right, I believe I heard enough ayes. The amendment to the agenda is approved. All in favor of the amended agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay. Next scheduled meetings are on the agenda. For public participation, if there are members in the public that wish to address, please fill out the form by the door and pass that up to me. First one up is Bud Wendelborn. Just push the button until it turns, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
You're good, Brad. Or
It's only
Bud.
2 minutes, I timed it. Hello, my name is Bud Windelborn. I'm the Operations Manager for the Champaign County State's Attorney's Office, where I proudly work for Julia Reitz, a community servant who is full of integrity, compassion, strength, and professionalism. I'm here as a member of this community to talk about one of the ways we at the State's Attorney's Office stretch our budget to find real solutions for the people of Champaign County. Tomorrow is the second annual Scott Bennett Family Resources Day, sponsored by the State's Attorney's Office, the Regional Planning Commission, and the Office of State Senator Paul Faraci. It will be at Lincoln Square Mall from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. on Friday, August 23rd, which is tomorrow. You won't be able to miss us at the mall. There will be over 40 tables there filled with some of the most helpful organizations and agencies in our community. I was there today doing some setup. It is vast and impressive. There are tables as far as you can see, and tomorrow they're going to be filled with resources. This event is named for our great community treasurer and former state senator, Scott Bennett, another man of integrity who, through his constant action and kindness, made people's lives better. We lost Scott tragically in 2022, but his legacy is important, and we aim to keep it alive. As I mentioned, Family Resources Day will be a gathering of over 40 agencies and organizations that do amazing work in our community. Organizations like CASA, RACES, CU Autism Network, Land of Lincoln Legal Services, the Pavilion, the Carl Addiction Recovery Center, and the Circuit Clerk, among many, many others. These organizations will answer questions and help attendees from the community. These are people who want everyone to lead a better life. Even if you don't need their help, you should stop by to meet these wonderful providers and to get acquainted with the generous bounty of resources available in our community. I have flyers that I've left by the back table if you want to grab one or more than one, and I hope to see you there tomorrow. Thanks for the minutes.
Thank you. All right, next slip is for Ronaldo Camas.
Good afternoon, Champaign County Board. My name is Reynaldo Camas. I am a undergraduate student at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. I come from a primarily Latino community, and so when I first came to Champaign-Urbana, I didn't know what I would expect. I didn't tour at all. I didn't tour the university at all. I didn't do anything, just because I didn't have the resources to come to just one day to tour the school. I'm into my sophomore year this year, and so I was able to explore the community my freshman year. I got to meet a lot of wonderful people. I'm studying political science, and so as someone who studies political science, I like to be involved in the local politics. I interned for Paul Faraci to get signatures for his campaign. And I also ran for precinct committee person for the Champaign County Democrats, which I'm a part of now. And everyone has been so welcoming. But I was disappointed to see what happened at the last Champaign County Board meeting. The targeting of Emily Rodriguez by the chair and by the auditor is shameful. It's very, very shameful, and it's something that should not happen. As well as the fact that it seems as the Champaign County Republicans are also targeting her, which I hope that the Republican members of the board are able to condemn during their statement. It's very shameful, and it's something that should not happen. She is the only Latina board member in this board. As someone who is Latino myself, I see myself in her shoes. Could that have been me being targeted? And it's shameful. It's very shameful. And the fact that there hasn't been an apology from the county auditor or the chair is also very shameful. The Champaign County Board, you, as the board members, you should be held at a higher standard than anyone else. Some of you have not lived up to that standard at all. And it's very, again, shameful in every regard. I should not be up here. I should not. Me as a 19, almost 20-year-old shouldn't be reminding you about respect. I shouldn't. Is this really the example that you want to set for the future leaders of this country? The behavior has been unacceptable. The chair of this board has targeted almost the majority of the members here. Mr. Farney, Executive Summers, Ms. Jett, Leah Taylor, Emily Rodriguez. It is unbecoming of a public servant. And I hope you guys do better. I know a lot of you I know because of some of the events. And all of you are great people, and all great people have been very nice to me. But the treatment that I saw at that last board meeting was unacceptable. And I hope things change here, because you should be held at a higher standard. And right now you're not meeting the standard. And it's just a couple of bad apples per se, but the bad apples can ruin the whole bunch. And so unless something changes, it's gonna be the same story every board meeting. Every board meeting that I see is gonna be the same story. What are they gonna do during communications? What's gonna happen during communications? And you need to do better. And I hope that I hope there's a public apology towards Emily Rodriguez, because I haven't heard one so far from both the chair and the county auditor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is Susan McGrath.
Good evening, board members. I wanted to thank you for your support for the e-citation project that you will be voting on this evening, I hope, still on the consent agenda. It's a project that has been 2 years in the making. I always attend the meeting even when an item is on the consent agenda, because you all have the right to say you have questions or remove it from that agenda. So I want to be here in case there are any questions. But I want to say 2 things about this that I think you can be very proud of. One is this project is fully paid for all the participating police agencies for everything that they need for 5 years. 5 years, let that sink in. That's a lot of money. That's $250,000 from the e-citation fund. I'll be putting another $100,000 in 2 years from the e-citation fund. And the Arms Board, as it exits gracefully, is also contributing $250,000. And so we did this with the thought in mind that we would not be asking participating governments for any money to support this project. And it's something we can all be proud of, I think. The other thing is that this will also give us a bigger voice in the government units that are coming together on the board that will oversee this project. I did want to tell you that we have a vendor for the project. The contract is fully vetted. Everything is ready to go. If everything goes well, we'll have something in place about 6 months after the final contracts are signed. And that should take place after you all do your contracts tonight. The City of Champaign is meeting in the next couple of weeks to do their part, as are the other 2 member governments, and the PMRMS board. I can never get those letters straight. It is a fancy acronym for Record Management System. That's what I know. But again, a lot of people worked really hard together to make this happen. And these days, it's not always easy to get a bunch of people together to agree on anything. So the fact that we were all able to come together to work on this collectively is also something to be proud of. So if you do have any questions, I'm going to stay just in case. But I also wanted to have you share in the congratulations that are due to all the folks who have made this possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If no one else in the audience wishes to participate, then I will close audience participation. All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Farney and Ellie. So we have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Pugh,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Storr, Straub,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Vantage Theodont,
Yes.
Cowart,
Yes.
Esri,
Yes.
Farney,
Yes.
Furtado, Greer,
Yes.
Hanover Friedman,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Lockshin,
Yes.
Michaels,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Motion approved. Thank you. Communications. Do members of the board have communications to share? Chair Carter.
My experience here as chair, as a black woman, has not been pleasant, okay? I mean nothing bad when I ask Emily Rodriguez about her residency, not her citizenship, and that's what was said during that meeting. So when we come upon approving the minutes from that board meeting, I will be voting no on approval because that is not what I said, okay? There is some issues, some race issues here within Champaign County, whether we want to admit it or not, okay? What I said to Emily Rodriguez was not in a bad way. I simply was asking a question. The representative that's with the Republican has reached out to many of us, and we've spoken with her. I didn't think that was a bad thing to do, but it seems like it's something bad to do. I want to open up communication amongst all board members. I don't have no beef with anybody. I'm not mad at anyone, and I would hope that we could all work together. That is my purpose and my goal. Thank you.
Further board comments? JJ.
I was at the meeting last week when the Republican chairman asked Dr. Furtado about Ms. Rodriguez. I can tell everyone in this board, I want it very clear, that request did not come from the county board Republican caucus. We never would have thought of that because we all know the good that Emily Rodriguez does for this community, that she is an upstanding board member that has the interests of her district at heart at all times, and this needs to end. And I know I'm going to catch flack for saying it, and I'm proud to. I'm sorry you're going through this, Emily.
Further board communications? Seeing none, we will move on. I'm sorry. Beth, go ahead.
So this morning, the FDA did approve the updated booster vaccines for the mRNA shots. If you have, for whatever reason, a problem with the mRNA, the Novavax shot will be being approved in a few weeks. Ideally, these will be available before Labor Day. More likely, they will be available right after. These are rather impressively up to date as far as the latest variants are going, unlike the last one, which was several variants out of date. So it should prove to be extremely effective in preventing severe illness, hospitalization, or death. I strongly encourage you to either look at your insurance coverage and see where you can go to get it, or otherwise check the CDC website to see where they're available.
Thank you. Further communications? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the July 18th regular meeting? Esri, Michaels, is there any discussion? All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Nay. Motion carries. All right, moving on to presentation. Ms. DeLuce from Experience Champaign-Urbana is here to present. Welcome.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to speak with all of you this evening. I looked back at my calendar, and it was 2 years ago this month that I actually had a chance to share some of the things that we've been doing with all of you. Some of the faces have changed, so I may not know everybody personally, and I look forward to getting to know you on that one-on-one basis. But thank you for this opportunity to talk about what we are trying to do for our community. Our mission overall is to promote this community as a destination to not only visit, but to work and to live. And we feel we're champions of the community. We try to do that in a variety of ways. And let's talk about it a little bit along the way. So our core values, and this is really important to us, we believe in brilliance. We bring joy and an innovative mindset to all our work. Spark, we are tenacious and spirited in our pursuit of impact and illumination. We shine an optimistic light on all facets of our community. So everyone always wants to know about the numbers, and these were just released on Friday by Governor Pritzker. Overall, Illinois tourism is on an upswing, so it's very good. You can be proud that our region is the highest visitor spending in Illinois, and we're outpacing some of our comparable communities. Not that I'm here to brag, but let's face it, we're doing a good job. So the travel and tourism industry has supported, and these are 2023 numbers, 5,033 jobs in our area. That's a significant number of people, oftentimes people's first jobs, but a lot of people who have a career and people who we see that are neighbors every day. This generates $172.7 million in payroll. As you can see what the increases are, that one's up 7.4%, bringing $19.3 million in local taxes to be invested back to the community through, and this is the number a lot of people always remember, $666.9 million in visitor spending in a year. That's truly significant for our businesses, for the people who are around us. So how do we get to some of those numbers? And I could talk to y'all all night, but I know you got a big agenda. So I just wanted to give you a couple examples of events that we bring here that create significant impact. So U.S. Quad Ball. If you are a Harry Potter fan and know what Quidditch is, the new name is Quad Ball. So they wanted to step away from J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potter, so it's now called Quad Ball. That event that came to the Rantoul Sports Complex, and you'll see bid incentive listed there. We're competing with other communities. We have to pay bid incentives to bring in sport events to our community. But look at the return on investment for Quad Ball. We paid a $12,000 bid incentive, and the estimated impact for our area was $324,000. And even more important, that event in itself is so diverse. It is not your typical soccer athlete. These are a lot of young people, diverse in all areas. And let me tell you, they're competitive. If you've ever watched it, it's pretty interesting. The middle school basketball championships, which happens the week after the IHSA high school boys basketball. Bid incentive $8,000, estimated impact $2.1 million. D1 Nation football, bid incentive $7,500, impact $1.6 million. Rank Up football, bid incentive $7,500, impact $632,000. Those 4 events, right there, you can see the importance of what it does to have a sport event in our community. And oftentimes you'll see them at the mall, you'll see them out at our restaurants, you'll definitely see them at our hotel, because especially young people are bringing families and grandparents and things with them when they come. Speaking of the high school basketball, we did host it for the 3rd year this past year. And we are excited that we have a 5-year renewal to keep it here. So 5 more years. We intend it to be here for many, many more years. Dana Brenner can remember when we had it here before. And what I really like about this event, not only is it economic impact, it is an opportunity for all these basketball players to see our community and an opportunity to see the campus while they're here. But we also host at the same time the State Wheelchair Basketball Championships and the Illinois Special Olympics Unified Basketball Tournament, both of those taking place at the ARC, at the Activities and Recreation Center. So to have that type of weekend and what it is, and it's during spring break, it's just phenomenal for our area, and the pride of everybody involved is pretty amazing. So we can't just depend on our weekends. And I think one of the things, because they're just not nearly as fun to talk about in the media, because everybody loves sports, are the meetings and conferences. We have to have tourism 7 days a week. We have to fill our hotels, our restaurants, our retail, the gas stations, all of the, and keep our employees that we talked about, the over 5,000 employees that are involved. So we work very hard with bringing in statewide, national and international conferences. If we don't bring in that event directly, we work with the organizers who bring it in and work on concierge service and welcome bags. We're finding out with meetings, because they find they can go anywhere, that we're able to, that we have to, are now starting to have to do bid incentives for those conferences as well in some cases, but it's great. This is just a list of some of the ones that we were involved in the past year, and we'll continue to have more that are coming here in this coming year. So we've been through a pretty intense strategic planning process, and Destination 2027, which used to seem really far away, and it's going very fast already. So our objectives are to enhance our destination, to foster and expand our partnerships, amplify our stories, and strengthen our organization and team. We've launched a new brand, and we're asked a lot of questions about that with Experience Champaign-Urbana from Visit Champaign County. And what we found with all the research that we were doing is that when people search for our area, they search for three things: University of Illinois, Champaign, Urbana. They don't search for the county. I apologize, but that's not how people are finding us. And what we found is when we have launched a new brand, click-through rates have increased by 100.9%. People are finding our community much better by using this brand and the URL change. Our Restaurant Week website traffic increased by 13.9%. We do a WGN radio advertising. In response to that, it doubled. Website traffic increased by 27.9%. You can see the value of being able to have people find us. And what I appreciated what Mayor Smith said in Rantoul was, I don't care what you call it, as long as they find the Rantoul Sports Complex. So it's important to reach people how they want to be reached. So the new brand is working very well for us. In that, we also did a website update. We wanted to feature our partner communities, so we have an interactive map now featured on the homepage. It features a description and 3 businesses and attraction call-outs that we rotate regularly. Speaking of food and restaurant, and by the way, the popcorn, if you haven't been to CBPB Popcorn Shop, they've expanded and now have candy. I'm a huge proponent. It's a tough habit to break. I also love the fact that they started with a food truck and now have a brick and mortar, and they're also in the stadium and in the State Farm Center. That tells you a lot about how we support our businesses. So Restaurant Week, largest one to date, 49 participating restaurants around the Champaign County area. 33 restaurants in Champaign. We had 11 new restaurants that participated this last year, and the stats, you can see it right there, 79,516 with 29,000 unique visitors. Significant time when it is a slower time for restaurants post-holidays, but people have already forgotten their New Year's resolutions and they're ready to get out and try the new menu items. What I love about the restaurants is the number of thank yous we get that they say, thank you for doing this at a time when we want to try new menu items that we might want to put on the menu. And also it helps us celebrate people in our own community and introduce them to our place of business. Another project that we're super, super proud of is Accessible CU. So this was a collaboration with Community Choices and also the University College of Education to feature local businesses with accommodations for physical and cognitive disabilities. We want people to know when they go to businesses, there's a checklist that has been developed by these community members with disabilities, and it's oftentimes, as has been a very big part of the conversation today, is invisible disabilities. And having businesses that have a ranking with that from the people who use it, not from the business itself. It's a very long, tedious process. We hope to have more resources to be able to put into it because we believe strongly that accessibility is what makes our area such a desirable destination. We're also big about helping our area businesses. Grant assistance, we're very much funded by state tourism grants, local funding as well, but we want to help the businesses have access and help them write those grants to get that funding because let's face it, sometimes at the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, those grants are a little long and tedious. So we helped Flester's Candy Kitchen in Tuscola with the Backing Historical Small Restaurants Grant, and they received $40,000. CU Adventures with the Tourism Attraction and Festival Grant, $318,000 to be able to add on to what they're already doing. And that, if you don't think people are finding that place, that is one of our very top places that people are visiting in Urbana. And one that I was really hoping I'd be able to tell you has not been announced quite yet, but is going to be very, very exciting, and it's a $450,000 grant. These are helping people in our community be better. We also love being able to share the stories and showcase our local businesses. The Illinois Makers Program by the Illinois Office of Tourism recognizes Illinois-made products around the state of Illinois. We nominated, and we're so happy that they were accepted in this year's class, both Cloud Mountain Kombucha and Fire Doll Studio. If you look closely on the Cloud Mountain picture, you can see the plate. Each of the businesses around Illinois receives that plate that is made by Mississippi Mud Pottery that I think is in southern Illinois. Alton, that's what I thought, thank you. And those are wonderful plates, and to see businesses that we already have in the community be Illinois makers, but to add these two, even better is Kayla Brown was selected as one of 5 women-owned businesses to be at Governor Pritzker's press conference, and I got to go and watch her, and I will tell you, he really liked the Fruit Loops candle the best, the smell of it. Whatever, it's all good, but I love the fact of the engagement here and that she was selected to be a featured business during that time and sampling of the products that were there. Look at her face smiling. It was just an awesome, awesome moment. Another part of what we really focus on is data research. We want to be able to tell where visitors are going, a little bit Big Brother in terms of credit card receipts and cell phone data. We want to be able to track where visitors, when they're here, where they are going to, partly because we want to see where they're coming from, right? And then what their pattern is. And so in doing this, it's able to provide a service to our partners, both local municipalities, our economic development teams, local businesses, attractions, to be able to share this data. So the top visited regions, as you might guess, in the area is the University of Illinois and Champaign. The most markets coming to here are Chicago. The one that surprised me a little bit more was St. Louis, I'm not sure why, and Terre Haute, and Springfield and Decatur. Some of it could be for a variety of reasons, but what we do when they come here is track where they are going once they are here. If you look at the visitor spending, 63.5% of visitor spending in Champaign and $179 per visitor per day. So if we don't think visitors are coming and spending money, we found out 72% of all visitors staying overnight. That's a huge number of people coming, and we're going to continue the top sectors for spending, 45% food and beverage, 21% gas and service stations. We are going to continue to have these reports. They have a new, it's called Zartico, is the behavior, the format we're using. They're also getting to a point where we're going to be able to predict in the future as well, so that we can look ahead, and if we can see a really strong weekend and it's not something we already know about, we can help direct visitors to other places. So it's really going to be a great tool for us, not only figuring out where they've spent their money, but forecasting when they're going to be coming over the next few months. So it's a really, really great tool, and it's one that we're willing to do reports and talk. If you want to ever do it one-on-one or talk to people, we're happy to do that. Obviously talked about very much as part of our 2027 is completing phase 1 of the Champaign County African American Trail and to be able to start tours. You know, it is an awesome project, and you have been such a big part of that, and I thank you as the county for allocating ARPA money to be able to complete the Skeleton Park project. The goals here to finish that park, to install the remaining signs, to introduce the murals, and to create the videos. This is we've now done 17 of 23 of the interpretive signs, and you can see a sample of one in the left one there that is right across from Grange Grove. I love that all the new freshman U of I students are at the Illinois Sights and Sounds event tonight And as they're waiting to get in Grange Grove, they can read about William Frank Ernest, who was the first African-American to die in World War II and has a pillar in Memorial Stadium. That story needed to be told. And that story, we didn't know that. You wouldn't know who those pillars belonged to, but more importantly, his relatives are here in this community. And in partnership, I give Chancellor Jones a ton of credit because he is the one that allowed non-university signs to be on the University of Illinois campus. That's huge. I worked on campus for 15 years. We didn't do other signs. So this has been a terrific project in partnership with them as well as you all in the cities. It's just amazing. In the middle is Oscar Joya, who is from Chicago and a muralist right here. If you're driving down Madison John, the apartments right there, you can see his triptych of 3 murals. That is one of the 5 murals that will also be part of telling the stories. And then the third photo was the first one we did on campus when students demonstrated when they were not able to eat in campus town, but were able to go to school here and just not eat here. The stories being told are necessary. The stories being told have been a long time coming, and they weren't going to be shared, and the generations who knew these stories are dying off. So we're able to get these stories and photos and images out of people's scrapbooks in their attics before we lose that important part of history. So we're very proud of this project. This day was amazing. Several of you were there, which we loved having you there as part of Skeleton Park, the transformation of that park into a tribute to African-American musicians, the right picture with the sculpture by Preston Jackson, seeing people at play. That picture in the middle is a field trip of a trial tour we did with 3rd to 5th graders from the Urbana Neighborhood Connection Center. And the best compliment we heard all day when one of the young ladies went back is she said to her friend, "You should have gone on that." And I love that because engaging young people to not only see themselves in the history or other people just to understand what this history is about and that this is what makes up their community, it's just amazing. So the missing piece to this now will be an art installation with 95 musicians that have been identified that represent the music over the decades of African-American musicians, and that will be hopefully installed before it freezes. We'll see. Taylor Studios out of Rantoul, which I'm glad we're able to work with a local studio for that, is working on that project. So switching gears from that, and I'll quickly wrap up because I know y'all got an agenda, but I get so excited and then I'm like, okay, is the film office. We have a tremendous film scene here, and with the Soundstage grant happening in one of the hangars from Flyover Film Studios happening up in Rantoul, what a great use of our former Air Force Base. And to see the number of film agents that are coming here. We hosted a film location tour with 9 location scouts from Chicago. They want to bring their films here. When they bring their films here, they bring crews. They stay for multiple days. It not only puts us on the map for places being, oh, that was filmed here, but it also is providing jobs. It's providing jobs for people who come here and people to live here and be part of the film community. We started a workshop series to introduce ways for the community to get involved. So you want to be a film location, what that takes. There's one now if you want to be a film artist to be involved, and also a film vendor. Those have been the 3 workshops that we've hosted so far. And we hosted You're Out premiere at Savoy 16, and it was great to see the people. The lady in the middle there is the director of that film, and we're continuing to develop marketing materials and giveaways to promote our location as a premier film destination. So, talent attraction. Yes, we want people to visit here, but yes, we want people to move here and work here and live here. These are your Chambana Welcome Crew ambassadors. They have volunteered their time, they have gone through training, and when we have people who are a potential trailing spouse or partner, if we have a person who's already gotten a job here, but they want to be paired with somebody to just kind of get the vibe of the area and maybe not their employer, and maybe ask questions about where do I join a pottery club, or where's the best daycare. They get paired with someone with like interest to be able to just have a cup of coffee with them. It's a really great program, and we're finding more and more success What I'm most proud of is we have a strong LGBTQ plus community that is utilizing this because they're seeing it as a safe space with ambassadors, that they see themselves working with those ambassadors and be able to know about the community in that way. We have 69 ambassadors across all backgrounds. We've served 202 new and potential residents. Young professionals, the top age group, highly interested in arts and culture and outdoor opportunities. Programming that goes along with that, we created a community job application that's going very strong. We do new to CU mixers, we do community tours, and we also have a Champaign Proud podcast. I love the bottom one in the middle, Carly from the EDC and Terry from my team, with the folks from Maiz, being able to talk about their restaurant and the things that they have done since they've opened. How do we do all of this? This was a big part of what we are trying to build our team. We've completely restructured, as I was trying to explain to the board. So this tells you who the people are. We have a couple new folks, and we're hiring a director of marketing. But we've only increased our entire team by 1/2 position and doing all the things that we're doing. So it's a small but mighty team in the world of tourism and working very hard on behalf of all of you and our community. And I'll end with, this is our team. This is our board of directors, and this is our foundation board of trustees. I feel grateful to work with this group of people. I'm glad that Jennifer represents you all on our board. We had a very lively board meeting discussion this morning out at the airport where we met. But this is a group of people who understand the value of what we're doing and hopefully sharing that with everybody else. And I just want to thank you. I hope that kind of gives you a brief overview. I try to send the quarterly reports and the annual report to kind of get into all the nitty gritty. I traveled to DC with Steve and we had lots of conversations, and I said, just let me, I want to come to the county board. I'll even bring popcorn. I think that's what did is I said I'd bring popcorn now. But I think it's important for you all to know not only where your investment is going, but who are the people behind it that are really championing our community in a lot of ways. I've got 2 brand new staff members that are headed to Milwaukee on Monday, and they are going to be selling the heck out of our community. There's sport planners, there's meeting planners, and the 3rd person from the university is going to be selling the university for conferences in the summer months when we can host conferences. We've got access to a larger tourism incentive grant that will help us bring in large events. And that is a great partnership, again, with the university to be able to utilize those facilities when it's quiet. So lots going on. I could go on and on. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys got a lot to do. So anyway, I want to just thank you for the opportunity to share with all of you. And thank you. I don't know if I'm supposed to, if you want to ask any questions.
I think that, thank you for all that you do, Jane, and sure, Chair Carter.
I just wanted to add, CBPB is also a Black-owned business.
Yes,
I've been
it
doing
is.
business with them for many years. Great popcorn. I think it's the
And now
Buffalo
barbecue
Ranch.
with Suey's Barbecue.
Yes, and also they've expanded to a barbecue restaurant as well. They are really growing. I also want to thank you. I want to thank you for thinking of African Americans with this trail. I was there. It was very emotional because we hear the stories, but now we have somewhere where we can go and sharing those memories and thoughts. So I love everything that you do. I follow you on social media as well. I think you are an awesome person. And thank you for making everyone included in your projects and in your team, on your team. So thank you so much.
And we'll start the tours in 2025. We've done a couple trial ones, but we will invite everyone for tours because it'll be fun. Thank
Member
you.
Locke, go ahead.
I get to go on a tour next month with Jane here. It's actually going to be really fun. We're going to get all the kinks out so that going forward they'll be amazing. Samantha, I will take you on a personal tour after. Maybe we'll bribe Estella. This is not a bribe. This is a return on investment. Thank you for showing us all of the work you're doing with a relatively minuscule budget when you think of all of everything you're doing. It's insane. And it's my favorite way to spend an 8 a.m. once a month. And nobody wanted to do it because it's so early, and it's my favorite thing in the world. One question I have, and then I'll brag about you again, but one question I have is, all of the good you're doing and all of the conferences we are attracting and all of the movie makers that we're attracting, all of this good stuff, could it be even better once we have a better service at the airport?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I know that we've talked about air service development and sponsoring that. The airport, and I serve on the airport advisory board, is very well aware of the lost business that we cannot bid on. Conferences, particularly sport events, are more driving, but conferences that we can't bid on because we don't have appropriate service. I believe strongly that we have turned a corner with the efforts between the university and the Economic Development Corporation and everyone else that is supporting it, and I think we're going to see good things soon. But yes, that is a sticking point for us. We do, when we're bringing in larger groups like international groups, we do promote Bloomington, Peoria, even, Chicago, Indy, St. Louis, et cetera. We've even offered on one group to try to figure out like a shuttle to bring them from there if we don't have service for that. So yes, I would love to see expanded air service. Thank you.
And then one last bit of bragging about how awesome you are. The murals that are currently being painted right now, somebody mentioned them on the most negative space on the internet. They mentioned them on Spotted in Champaign, and they were mentioned favorably. It was positive discussion, and it's amazing, and it's wonderful. And I lied, there's one last part. Thank you for your allyship toward all economic development in the county, including working with the Advocates for Aging Care to try and convince people that we need a nursing home here in this county. I was shocked and pleased that we were discussing that because it's not tourism, but it is economic development, and it will help our county even further, so thank you.
It helps our residents. It doesn't matter what we do to promote the area. If our residents, they are our best ambassadors. I can do all the beautiful ad campaigns in the world, but if the residents think the area is like, sucks, excuse me, then what good do you have? So we have to make ambassadors out of our residents, and that includes taking care of people in time of need.
Anyone else? All right, Jane, thank you very much again for all that you do.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to our amended agenda. Next up would be the Opioid Settlement Task Force. The summary of action taken at the August 7th task force meeting was received and placed on file. Would the chair of the Opioid Settlement Task Force like to make the committee's recommendation for item number 1?
Yes, the chair would like to do that. I'll start by saying we do have representatives from See You at Home present if there are questions at any point about what we're asking to use these funds are. But just as a reminder for people who don't serve on the opioid task force, we have, as a county, we have received several settlements in the opioid settlement area, and more keep coming in. Am I correct on that, Michelle?
Yeah, actually, I think since the last time we talked, we have now moved over $1 million
Yeah.
received, and
So-
are expecting funds of some level until 2039.
Yes. So we have a chunk of money right now that's around $1 million, and we get money periodically, approximately yearly, but we don't want to say exactly yearly, for a while. And there's limitations on how we can use these funds, and we've wanted to find the best way possible to use them. And we did the due diligence. We talked to every treatment provider, every stakeholder that you can think of. And what's bubbled to the top of how we could make the most impact right now, the most positive impact right now, would be to aid See You at Home in the acquisition of a medium barrier facility. Am I using the words correctly back there? Mid-barrier facility, thank you. I have my helper. Thank you, thank you. So at this point, would like to entertain a motion to spend $580,000 from our opioid settlement money, which is less than half of what we anticipate getting, to aid See You at Home. I have Jen Straub and Leah Taylor. And if there are any questions for See You at Home, they are here, if there's any discussion.
Let's get a motion in a second.
That's-
You've made the motion. Oh, Jen, I'm
Jen
sorry, I
Straub
didn't hear
and
Jen
Leah
make the second. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got the motion in the second. Is there further discussion? Comments? you want to bring anyone from the back forward? All right. All in favor? Signify.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Next on our amended agenda, American Rescue Plan Act. Kathy?
Good evening. We included the regular monthly update with the financial information and the timeline, and we keep adding to the list of completed projects. We also, of course, have the broadband update next, and then I did want to mention on the EDC business grant program that Carly had specified that she is working to get additional support staff to get the program launched. So they are working on that and trying to get it launched as soon as possible. Michelle and I also discussed status on these contracts to see timelines for each of them. And then there's been a lot of progress, especially this summer, and even since this chart was printed, and I'd be happy to answer questions for those that I can answer.
Chair Carter.
I am in communication with Ms. Carly about the program as well, so I'm hoping that we will be able to set up a meeting date and we can discuss. I did ask for Dr. Storr to also be included with that meeting. I think the more minds, the better, so we can hopefully have a successful program moving forward. So I'm willing to do my part any way that I can, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Storr is going to offer his good ideas as well, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Dr. Storr.
It's been a while since I've heard anything about the low hurdle small business COVID relief. Has there been any progress on that? I mean, it's still in memory.
That is actually what we're referring to, that Carly is trying to get staff arranged to support the program. They plan to start it as soon as possible once they get that going. And so I just mentioned small business grant program, but that is the low hurdle program. It's the same thing, yeah.
Actually, some of it is also the loan programs of which have been pretty successful, I understand.
Yeah, as far as the Justine Peterson loans, they have utilized all the ARPA funds. I think we put the outcome in the chart too, as far as how many clients were served. But it was, yeah, very successful. If we haven't done it yet, we'll include it in the chart next time. Looks like 148 small businesses were served. Yeah.
Michelle, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I think, let me know if I'm mixing up organizations, Kathy, but didn't that one also come back and say they actually didn't need all of their administrative costs and were reallocating more money into the loan program recently? I think didn't we see an increase in that?
If there was, it wasn't from the ARPA participation, but I know they were also trying for cities, Champaign and Urbana participation on the program. At one point, Carly had thought perhaps the small business grant program could also utilize Justine Peterson for a loan component of some sort, but at this point, they plan to use it all for the grants, as far as I know.
Which organization is Laura with?
The chamber. Oh, so that's...
It's the chamber. Whatever we gave the chamber, they reduced their administrative overhead and we're putting more money into the actual program.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Chamber
I knew I was
also
mixing
has
them up.
Microloans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Further questions for Kathy? Go ahead, Beth.
So I'm noticing the line item for the Next Link rural broadband, is that going to just fold into the VOLO rural broadband, or should I wait for the next budget item?
Once we have all of the paperwork in order to terminate that contract, we can switch it over to the VOLO. And so yes, it'll show up in a future chart, yeah.
But yeah, we're going to discuss that in detail next.
Okay. Brett, did you have something? Okay, I'm sorry. Samantha, go ahead.
The RPC sleep program.
Yes, so they were working on securing equipment for that program, and so that'll be a contract that will extend the timeline into next year so that they've got enough time to get this accomplished. They were still doing all the marketing for it this summer, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Kathy, thank you very much. Moving on to the amended agenda, Broadband Task Force, summary of action taken at the August 5th task force meetings received and placed on file. Bailey is here and is going to share some more information.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see everyone again. Thank you for letting me have a little bit of time. I promise to keep it short and sweet and hopefully to the point with our update from the Broadband Task Force. An interesting summer for us. I think you all know by now Volo received their Connect Round 3 grant and NextLink did not, disappointingly enough. But very happy that Volo was able to get that grant through. I'm very excited for where that can go and how that project is going to move forward. So at that point, we found out that news and it was like, okay, now what? We've got money left, and no offense to all of you, but I really want to use it on rural broadband and not let you take it back and use it on something else. So we met a couple times. We had NextLink. NextLink offered a project that was not very well received by the Broadband Task Force that focused on fixed wireless. That was not in any way, shape, or form what we as a task force had really wanted to do. We then asked them to come back again, and they blew us off at our August meeting. So we received a couple of other proposals, and the Broadband Task Force is recommending that we move forward with moving that money to Volo to expand their current project footprint. We think that they didn't have their full proposal for us. It was a bit of short notice as they were trying to put something together. But what they did show us was very encouraging with how they were going to grow the existing project and then be able to grow in the future as well. And so I think that the task force was very happy with the ability to pivot and do a quick pivot so that you all have clarity as you move into the budget process. We didn't want to drag that out too long by any means. So that's kind of the TLDR on the last 3 months of the Broadband Task Force. So if anyone has any questions, happy to.
Stephanie.
You could probably guess what I'm going to ask. Since we have to have this all spent by 2026, how do you feel confident about that? And do you feel confident in terms of I know one of the big things is that you're helping us with is the easement work, and are you properly resourced for that?
So I think
have we given you enough money for that?
You have given me enough money. We're on the Farm Bureau side, we're fine. I mean, I'll always take more money if you're just handing it out, but fiscal responsibility tells me to tell you that yes, you gave me enough money. I would say that yes, I have full confidence that we will get the ARPA money spent by the time it needs to be spent. Volo is planning to basically spend the county monies first. And when this project kicks off, it's going to be a lot of money in a hurry because this is expensive. So I do have full confidence that we will be able to get that money spent. On the easement side of things, we've had great discussions. We're working with Volo on landowner lists, identifying their route they'd like to take. I've spent more time in the Champaign County Plat Book the last 2 months than I'd probably like to admit. I'm going to be honest. And as we get their expanded project footprint, we'll be doing some more of that. We've identified some landowners we'd like to avoid. I'm guessing Aaron over there could probably reel off 4 or 5 off the top of his head that are just don't do it. But yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot there when it's all said and done.
Thank you. And that last comment, that right there is why we asked you to do this, because you know that way more than anybody here would. So we really appreciate the work you've been doing on this.
Well, we appreciate being involved. I mean, when we get it done, and I say when we get it done, it's going to be a huge feather in everyone's cap, and we're happy to be involved. So, and if anyone has any more broadband questions, I'll take them. Oh, I like that. I'll take off the broadband task force hat and I'm gonna put on the Farm Bureau hat. We're gonna be doing the combine rides again this fall. So if, you'll expect to see an email from either myself or my lovely assistant Lucas to schedule those. So I'm gonna put that plug out there too. And the final thing I'm gonna say is back on broadband, if any of you have any contact with Congresswoman Bazinski or her staff, please tell them thank you for supporting the ACP, the Affordable Connectivity Program. She's put a bill in place bipartisanly, which surprisingly enough in Washington, D.C., to try and get that program back off the ground. And that's a very important program when it comes to really equity and affordability in every area of the county. And so I just want to give her a public shout out in this forum to thank her for doing that. So with that, if no one has anything else, I'm going to get out of here and leave y'all to it.
One more question, sorry.
Yep.
I just want to thank you for all of your expertise along this journey. I know you came in midway, but I mean, you just came on in and you know this.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that we have you aboard. So
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. And I'll tell you, our efforts here are not going on unnoticed. I've been involved in a conference in Washington, D.C., a permitting conference with the Benton Broadband Institute, and I'm actually heading out to Des Moines in September for the Fiber Broadband Association's Rural Connectivity Conference. So the good work being done here is not going unnoticed. So
Thanks so much, Bailey.
thank you, Steve.
All right. All right, there also is the memo in the packet with regard to county treasurer collector and county executive funding request. Our treasurer is in back if she needs to come up, and Michelle's been working closely with her on that. So do we have questions the board might have with regard to this? All right. All right, thumbs up, please, if you guys are going to. All right, great. JJ.
I just have a point of order. We passed the opioid settlement or that budget amendment by a voice vote. That should be a roll call, just so we don't get in trouble.
Thank you so much. All right, that would be for resolution 2024-217. Matt, could you please call the roll?
Pugh.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Storr.
Yes.
Straub.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Fenish Thiranot.
Yes.
Cowart. Esri.
Yes.
Farney.
Yes.
Furtado. Greer. Hanauer Friedman.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Lockshin.
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes.
Carter.
yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, JJ, appreciate it. All right, go ahead, Stephanie.
Just really clear, I just want to have this as a point of information, just so everybody understands what we just voted on. That money will be coming from our fund balance. So one of the reasons that our fund balance has been high is because the $1 million of opioid settlement money is in there. So in case you're like wondering, I just wanted to say that so that everybody knew where that money came from. It wasn't like new grant money, that we've been seeing that money in our fund balance. I just wanted to say that to everybody.
Sometime we'll have our own line item for that. That would be a nice thing. All right, moving on back to the regular order. For facilities, summary of the action taken August 6th is received and placed on file. ELUC, also summary of actions taken at August 8th meeting received and placed on file. And for highway and transportation, summary of action August 9th meeting received and placed on file. We do have a memo from Jeff Blue in our packet about the replacement of the County Road 2000 East overpass. This was brought up at Highway, and the disposition of Highway Committee was to allow Jeff to reply to IDOT with regard to this. If we've got questions, Jeff is here to field those questions if anybody has questions. If not, then Jeff will reply to IDOT and go on. Aaron.
Not a question, but just a quick, try to make this quick statement. it's in my district. I'm one of the ones probably the one who largely brought it forward to the county, and I appreciate Steve's work on it and any work that Mr. Jeff Blue's done on it. I stand out of this committee definitely because we used that overpass when it was open. We would use it where it reopened. So yes, I have more to gain by it being replaced out of anybody in here, but this doesn't make sense for the county. So I totally understand, the Highway and Transportation Committee's response, and I'm perfectly fine and would appreciate Mr. Blue writing a response, wording it properly as I know he'll do to respond that, in essence, thanks but no thanks for this agreement.
I'd like to respectfully point out, though, that agriculture in that area benefits greatly from having that overpass in terms of taking their product to a silo that is elevated, that is due north of there. In terms of emergency vehicle access, there are a wide variety of different reasons for us to be able to continue to see if we can get IDOT to replace this. And I'm happy that at least we did get a response from IDOT that tells me that we're at least getting somebody's attention, and we will continue to move forward. Thank you, Jeff. Right away. All right, summary of actions taken at the August 13th committee meeting of the whole as received and placed on file. Policy personnel appointments. Will the policy chair make the committee's recommendations for item number 1?
Thank you. Adoption of resolution number 2024-209, superseding resolution number 2018-413 on establishment of organization, duties, rules, policies, and procedures of the Champaign County Board on the effective date of August 22nd, 2024. Move approval.
Is there a second? Second with Mr. Farney. Any discussion? JJ.
I want to thank Michelle for putting into proper form exactly what I wanted to accomplish. So thank you.
I'll
Megan.
totally
And
accept
Megan.
it, but also pass some
I
of
was
that
gonna
on
say.
to Megan. So
Sorry, Megan.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Will the policy chair make the committee's recommendation for item number 2?
Thank you. Adoption of ordinance number 2024-207, amending the schedule of authorized positions in the treasurer's office, namely account clerk.
Okay, motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none. Oh, go ahead, Samantha.
I just want to say that this is long overdue, CJ, and I am so grateful that this is coming to pass. Thank you for all the hard work that you've done for this county. We really appreciate you.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, will the finance chair make the committee's recommendation for item number 1?
Adoption of resolution number 2024-208, approving budget amendment BUA 2024-8229, Fund 1080, General Corporate Department 026, County Treasurer, increased appropriations 17,500, increased revenue 0, reason amending the schedule of authorized positions to add an additional account clerk.
Okay, we have the motion. Member Straub, you making the second? Motion and a second. Discussion. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Pugh.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Storr.
Yes.
Straub. Taylor.
Yes.
Benich Theronot.
yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Esri.
Yes.
Varney.
Yes.
Furtado.
Yes.
Greer.
Yes.
Hanauer Friedman.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Lockshin,
Yes.
Michaels. Carter.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, if there's no objection, can I get an omnibus motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2024-210, authorizing payment of claims, and adoption of Resolution 2024-211, approving purchases not following purchasing policy? Ms. Locke makes the motion. Second, our chair. Any discussion?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. We actually had agenda items marked 8, which was on our yellow sheet. That probably could have come. Oh, so just, you were not going to, sorry, my fault. I just saw them to the
That's fine.
side.
All right. Any discussion? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just a friendly note, Steve, I don't have a problem with the 4 line items on 210, but I did check the website. I only found 2 of the 4 line items, so we might want to go over that July checkbook that's out there and make sure that all 4 of them are shown on there.
Okay. Is the board willing to approve this and to then retroactively go back? Do you want to pull it from the agenda? Go ahead, JJ.
So Mike, are you just saying the website's wrong?
That's correct.
Then I think
Okay.
that's something we can fix
All right.
afterwards.
We will review that later then. All right, thank you. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2024-212, approving budget amendment BUA 2024-8139, Fund 2685, Specialty Courts, Department 31, Circuit Court? Increased appropriations, $168,624. Increased revenue, $168,624. Appropriation of grant funds from the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority to the Adult Redeploy Illinois Program. Got a motion from Liz Taylor, second from Ellie. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Pugh,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Storr, Straub,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Benich Thiernot,
Yes.
Cowart,
Yes.
Esri,
Yes.
Farney,
Yes.
Furtado, Greer,
Yes.
Hanover Friedman,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Lockshin,
Yes.
Michaels,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Storr.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2024-213, approving an intergovernmental agreement for the Champaign County Area Rural Transit System, C-Carts, to provide transportation service to the U of I Granger College of Engineering Center for Transportation, it's ICT. Moved by Diane, second by Mike. Is there discussion? You'll recall this is something that is being paid for externally and provides a great service for folks, so. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Can I get a omnibus motion approving adoption of Resolution 214, approving an amendment to contract with Burrow and Russo Builders for County Plaza Reservation Project, and adoption of Resolution 2024-215, approving amendment to contract with PJ Hoare Inc. for County Jail Consolidation Project. Motion by Jenny, second by Ms. Locke. Is there any discussion? We have our facilities director here. If folks have questions, this is an extension of our existing contracts too. Yes, go ahead, Diane.
Just real quick, it seems like we have a lot of what I would think are punch items that are kind of coming out more. And I would think that we're almost to the end of these aha moments that we're getting caught with from
Dana,
the
I think you're going
building.
to have to come up to the mic now, so.
Sorry, Dana, but I'm hoping we're at the end of these little nuggets that we keep finding along the way that we weren't prepared for.
Well, the one for Born Russo isn't a nugget we found. It's that the sheriff's office found another copier.
Oh.
And we need a data port and an electric outlet.
Okay.
Put in his administrative hallway to have that copier function correctly. So otherwise, it's a big paperweight up there.
Yeah, it's like.
Aaron?
Since Dana's up at the microphone real quick, I know it's out of your control and it's the elevators, I believe, that are looking like it's going to be our biggest hangup is to getting moved into County Plaza, the Bennett Administrative Building. Do you think we have a good actual timeline now as to when that will happen, or do you see that it could potentially get, I know it's ultimately out of your control, but just the way you've seen things progress, do you think we know now that we will actually be in there by X date, or will it, on the supply end, get pushed out yet?
The good news is that Otis, our contractor, has started work. The schedule is 14 weeks for the first elevator. One of their lead mechanics has been on military. He's a volunteer, so he's been overseas, and he was due to come back in June, and he was extended until September sometime. So what they've told us is that we have a two-man crew, it'll be 14 weeks. When he gets here, they'll find another worker, and hopefully by October, he'll be on site working on one of the public elevators. So if that should happen, then I think we can draw a circle around a date in early 2025. But right now, if it's 14 weeks per elevator, you can look at the calendar and see where it's going to fall. But that's unfortunately what it is. That's how this has worked out, and so we have to.
Chair Carter.
So we've just recently ran into some issues in our building too that I have my business in. So is this correct that there's only one company that service elevators in this area when they break down?
Oh, no, there's actually in the state of Illinois, there's 5.
The closest to us is Bloomington?
They're in Chicago, they're in Bloomington, they're in Peoria. I think that's the only locations of them. Some of them are extremely large. Otis is big, obviously. Kone is another large one. They had our service contract for a number of years, but they underperformed, so we rebid it out. When we started with the project, we looked at the elevators. We had our elevator experts and engineers come in and take a look, and we really didn't want to replace them. So we told them, what can we do to them that'll give us, good working elevators for 3 to 4 years? And basically, they came back and said, well, if we put $25,000 to $30,000 into each elevator, you should get, they said 2 to 3. So we figured, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and do that. And as we started our larger project, the contractor came in and we gave him access to the elevators. He had to protect the systems and the cars themselves, which he gladly did. But the first month, they started breaking down left and right. And within 2 months, we had 2 elevators that were completely out of commission and unrepairable. Keep in mind, these elevators are 1980 vintage. They have many hours of use. We call it a penthouse, but it's it's where all the equipment is and the lift is up on the roof, not air conditioned. So that equipment in there, when you walk in, you can just smell that it had been burning at some point in time. Just so hot, it didn't catch fire, but it's just extremely hot. So not good on equipment, needs to be cooled. So we've done all those things and put ourselves in position. Now with Otis, and once the elevators are up and working, we're, going to have a terrific system for as long as the county wants that building, so.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I think one of the things you're thinking of, though, is that the union of elevator repair people, engineers, is very small. So there's not a lot of people who do this work. So there is a long timeline, and that's why we end up with not first. I was going to say first of the year. No, not first of the year, but into 2025 to be in that building, because we have to have elevators functional before we can move in, unfortunately.
Stephanie.
Oh, I do want to sort of respond to Diane's point. This is like a question I ask at every facilities meeting, but I will say that even with all the change orders that we've had, for the jail project, we're still at like 2.5%, and for the Bennett Center, we are less than 7 on a major reno, and I think if you could get in under 10 on a project like that, so I think we're like closer to 6. I don't have the exact math, but like, so I've been following this. I'm like, as I see them, in fact, on the jail project until this last one, we were almost even. Like this last one was the biggest one I think we've had, but in general, I think there's been a lot of rhetoric, especially around I've seen on like Facebook and stuff, people posting like, oh, that, moving into that Busey Center is costing the county millions more than they planned. And I'm like, that's just not true. That didn't happen. It's not even kind of true. Like on a renovation, I always think you got to be prepared for 10%. Because you start knocking down a wall, you don't know what's behind that wall, right? For us to come in, and we're really close to being done, I think that, they've tried to keep costs down, and I appreciate that.
Dr. Storr.
My hearing's not as good as I think it is sometimes. Did I understand you to say something about 3 to 4 or even 2 to 3 year expectancy of the elevators, or no? Okay.
I probably didn't explain it good enough, so I apologize. But when we looked at it, and Hanover engineers looked at it, to put $25,000 to $30,000 in each elevator initially would give us at least 2 to 3 years of use, which would just buy us time basically once the building was renovated. Because this is early on in the process. Okay, so once the elevators stopped working and we were down to 1, we knew immediately we put a project together, and we got a bid out on the street to get it to where we're at right now.
Jenny.
And just to be clear, that was the initial before we went with replacement. Right now, we're keeping the cars, I believe, but all the equipment and everything, electronics, is being replaced. So when we thought we could reuse what was in there, that's when we were at we'll get 2 to 3 years out of it. But that's no longer the case because they conked out pretty quick.
Go ahead.
Hey, Dana. Just looking at the change orders requested for the jail, I know that we just mentioned that until this one there hadn't been a big one, but the big request today is because we need internet access to be good so that the phones work, right? So that the inmate contract for phones, we want our people to be able to communicate, and foot-thick walls don't mix well with Wi-Fi, right?
You are correct. Going into the project, they didn't know they were going to have the pads being available. So this is an addition, and this is into the new part of the building. Keep in mind, we still have cells on the other side, so we're getting a report done to tell us what kind of coverage we have on the existing side. So there'll be an expense as well, and probably just a little bit larger than that expense. But we're in terms of change orders in general for the jail, I think we're in terrific shape. We're at about $560,000 roughly right now. We budgeted basically $1 million in change orders inside the budget, and with the interest that's been generated off of the bonds for the jail, we've garnered another $900,000. So you got about 1.9, which is just slightly under 10%. But I think we'll be in great shape for that facility. We're going to be a little closer on, obviously, the Bennett building, but the Bennett building is a whole different type of construction project. And what we were doing is once we tear into the building, as was stated earlier, you find things, and as you go, you need to correct those things. And the original construction probably shortened a few corners, made them a little rounder than they should have. So we went in and straightened some things out. We've got two big issues to get resolved. The building's in great shape. The parking deck is what we're working on currently. So facility committee will hopefully see some information on that at the first meeting in September. We've got to get some answers yet on the upper deck and the drains, but we're winding that down. It's virtually done. So
and this is just for anybody watching in TV land and anyone here, the Wi-Fi jail issue is not something that's limited to us. We saw it in Kankakee County when we toured. Everywhere where there's foot-thick walls is having to put in thousands and thousands of dollars worth of Wi-Fi to make it keep working.
Before you vote on this, just two quick comments. Dana is understating the concern that he has when these increases come up. He is very, very focused on this when the issue of Wi-Fi and an additional changer that we're going to be looking at in terms of flooring and painting at the older portion of the jail, which is sorely needed. I told him, I said, this board will do the right thing. So, second thing, with regard to contingency, 10% is great for older structures, but I would prefer to go with 15 personally because it can be extensive. So we've gotten close on this, and we're doing okay. But in the future, if we go back into the courthouse and do anything, I think we need to have probably a full 15% contingency on a project like that. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dana, stay seated, as you know. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2024-216, approving award of contract for the courthouse boiler burner replacement project pursuant to ITB 2024-003. Can I have a motion? Motion by Chair Carter, second by Lorraine Court. We've got the motion and a second. Discussion. Dana's here to answer questions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Dana, for sticking around.
Thank you, Mr. Dana.
Other business, the decennial committee reports to the county board are available on the county's website. Reports from Joint Ludlow Township and Road District, Joint South Homer Township and Road District, Ivedale Fire Protection District, and Thomasboro Fire Protection District. They're received and placed on file. You can see them on the website. As we have no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, folks.